Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Currently, we're obviously in the early days of the MW3 Warzone integration, but already we've found a handful of standout weapons in this overall meta. There have been some very broken ones already, whether it was the Bass B or the FR556, some really strong options. We've also found that some weapons are absolutely awful, and the overall meta is beginning to, take shape, and we got a good understanding of what's more competitive and what's less competitive. But with that, we know that all throughout the year, since Warzone is a live service game, we are going to see a bunch of meta updates, weapon updates, and weapon balancing updates, right? To make certain weapons worse, to make certain weapons better, to add in new weapons as well. And with that, today, I wanted to give you a more broad overview of the future of the Warzone meta, because surprisingly enough, while we're still in the very early days of the overall MW3 meta within Warzone, we already have some confirmed updates and some general design directions that the devs want to take when it comes to shaping the meta over time. So we got a lot to look forward to in regards to that. As we get into the details, if you enjoy the video, do me a favor and drop a like on it. It does really help the channel grow. And if you're new here or you simply have not subscribed yet, let's change that, because every single day I got you covered with all things you need to know about Call of Duty, whether it's news, updates, patch notes, meta breakdowns. It's all right here, so feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. But obviously, the very straightforward thing that we know about the overall meta here already is that every single major seasonal update is going to include meta changes to some extent. Now, there will be certain one-off random updates on, a Tuesday or a Saturday perchance, where we get patch notes, and in it there's some surprise meta changes where they've buffed this rifle and they've nerfed this shotgun, and that happens from time to time. And whenever it does happen, you guys know I always have you covered with the new patch notes when they drop, but that's sort of something that you can't really predict as much when that random update goes live. But the seasonal updates, the launch of Season 1, the Season 1 Reloaded update, the launch of Season 2, Season 2 Reloaded, so on and so forth, all the way through Season 6 to the launch of Black Ops Gulf War next year, we're going to see those more top-down meta updates. And they've already previewed sort of the short term here by saying that Season 1 was going to include some general weapon tuning to focus on some of the more powerful weapons on the multiplayer side of things, and Warzone obviously was going to start with that in place and see how it goes. They did specify that with Season 1 Reloaded, we were going to see more, fine examples of very specific weapon tuning. And a similar trend to what we saw last year is we no longer see super significant changes to one given weapon, unless of course one given weapon is extremely busted and way too overpowered in the form of, like, let's say the underbarrel FAMAS shotgun or the dual snake shots from back in the day. Those were clearly breaking the meta in the sense of you couldn't win a fight if you didn't use those. That stuff obviously needs to be significantly cut down so it's balanced. But if there's just a really dominant rifle that's low recoil and has a really fast TTK, they're likely going to make some small changes to, okay, we'll buff the recoil a tad bit here and make it harder to use, or we're going to change the headshot damage a little bit and see if that brings the TTK more in line with the other ones, rather than, okay, this gun's low recoil and has a fast TTK, let's just absolutely destroy the damage and make it kick into the sky every time you shoot it. Those super drastic changes are not going to be a thing, and it's probably going to be several updates to weapons back to back to back to bring them in line. You won't see significant drop downs or significant bump ups with certain weapon changes throughout the year. But like I said, that's more of like the broad overview of how things will change season over season. We actually, surprisingly enough, already have some specifics on how the direction's going to go with certain meta changes. First up here, the devs did actually talk a little bit about the sniper meta just before the launch of Warzone, and this is what really surprised me with the launch of Warzone, because when we got to speak to the devs about how things were going to feel when Warzone launched, they mentioned they were aiming for a healthy sniper meta. They were obviously teasing the one-shot sniper turning, but as we know, the true one-shot sniper right now is the cat. And, actually, just the cat. Now, for what it's worth, some of the MW2 snipes like the MCPR and the Imperium, those could one-shot if you use the explosive ammo on them, just like back in Warzone 2. but that kind of sucks. Being forced to use the explosive ammo on there kind of limits what you're able to do with a class setup to actually make it efficient and make it versatile and cater it more to your specific style of play. Whether you're going for quick scopes or long range sniping, being forced to use certain attachments to get a weapon to actually function at a competitive level just kind of sucks, and there's nothing really healthy about that. And then if you're not using the explosive ammo on those snipes or any of the other basic snipes in the game, whether it's the longbow, the inhibitor, you know, the SPX or anything like that, they're just simply not going to one-shot kill unless the enemy is super weak. Against full plates, it is the cat and the cat alone, and that's not a healthy sniper meta. So in my opinion, them saying they were striving for a healthy sniper meta this year, we also had devs teasing how sniping would be similar to Warzone 1's and feel like it was back in its OG form before Warzone dropped and the integration dropped. To me, makes it seem like there's probably going to be some significant tweaks to snipes over time so that it does open up the sniper meta and we could use certain heavy snipes to one-shot knock at all ranges, or certain more aggressive snipes to one-shot knock within their first damage range or the first 30 to 40 meters for quickscope styles of play. It does seem like some changes to the sniper meta are definitely needed, but also should be coming based on how they described their want for that healthier sniper meta this year. Hey everyone, it's holiday season, and if you're looking for the perfect stocking stuffer or gift this year, look no further than G Fuel. Whether you're trying to treat yourself this holiday season or pick up something for some friends or some family, G Fuel's got you covered with a little bit of something for everyone. Whether you're trying to restock on your favorite flavors, maybe try something new, they got the tubs, the starter kits, even just some straight up shaker cups if you're looking to grab a new one of those. If you want to pick up anything at all from the G Fuel sites, be sure to go ahead and throw in code WHosImmortal at checkout for that nice little discount. Link for that will be down in the description below if you're interested. Now, another aspect of the meta that we actually already got some cool details on is specifically the Modern Warfare 2 meta. And this is actually already a strong ongoing conversation in the community. Should I be using an MW3 gun for this style of fight? Should I be using an MW2 gun for this style of fight? And there are some pretty distinct differences in how these different games' weapons behave. MW3 weapons are super low visual recoil, very minimal sway. Their attachments are also pretty positive in terms of enhancing their efficiencies. A lot of MW2 guns you could use MW3 attachments on, which is nice, but their base weapons, a lot more visual recoil, a lot more bounce and weapon shake, which is really obnoxious to fight with over long range. The weapon sway is much more noticeable on MW2 guns, and their recoil patterns are a bit more RNG because of that. So this would give distinct advantages to MW3 guns in pretty much any gunfight that's outside of the close to early mid-range. You know, over long range, you're going to be using the low recoil laser beam guns versus the high recoil, high visual noise, very shaky weapons. That's just sort of a straightforward thing. And with that, the devs have said that they plan on making future balance passes to MW2 guns to bring them more in line with the behaviors of Modern Warfare 3 guns. So while we do have all these laser beam like MW3 guns now, there is going to be an aim to change a lot of the MW2 guns to feel more like that. Now, this is something that they said they had planned, pre-launch and everything, but obviously with the development timing of Warzone and MW3 right now, it was just something that they couldn't have done in time for launch. So instead, it'll be something that gradually happens season after season. So, season 1 Reloaded might make some changes to some of the MW2 LMGs, and then season 2 might make some changes to some of the MW2 rifles, so on and so forth, so that there is more of a direct balance and not as clear of a distinction and gap between the MW3 and the MW2 guns. Because right now it's like, yeah, sure, there are some very competitive MW2 guns in terms of TTK and mobility and whatnot, but then I go to shoot them and it's like, wow, I could work twice as hard with an MW2 gun for the same result as an MW3 gun. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the MW3 gun, right? So it's nice to see that that is something that the devs are actively looking into as well. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, as we see any new meta updates, whether it's surprise patch notes, seasonal updates, whatever the case may be, I'm gonna always have you guys covered with the latest details there. So feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications so you always know whenever I post a new video. And if you enjoyed this one, do me a favor and drop a like on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.